Welcome to AUCTV. I'm Farida Yassine, and as the Student Union Presidency elections are approaching, Team Ahmed Khatib and Farida Sarhank joining us to discuss their campaign. Ahmed is a mechanical engineering junior and is serving as services chairperson in the current Student Union, while Farida is an MICT junior and is serving as representation chairperson. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're good, how are you?
Good.
I'm good.
It's an honor to be here, صراحة.
Okay, so let me start with the question, a very simple question.
Okay.
What made you decide to run for presidency and vice presidency?
For us, the union is something that's always been integral in our university experience, but the decision to even join elections was something to do with the student body. We saw the student body act, and we saw how when they were united and how they were together, how much impact they caused, and we wanted to cause that starting from the union. So we saw that throughout this journey, they had to be involved, and we wanted to be the ones to involve them as much as possible, and we wanted them to ask for their own involvement. So it was just imperative that
It's just a matter of we've been working in the union for as long as I can remember. من أول ما دخلت الجامعة, I think Farida is the same, and discovering the many challenges that we face as a student body together دلوقتي في الجامعة, we have the capacity to actually help. We just have to have that, and بجد لازم ننزل, and if you can be able to solve a problem, you have to try at least to solve it, and we believe our campaign is about solving people's problems and supporting people throughout their experience, مش بس in activities, in their whole university experience.
Yeah. It's also about understanding that there is a problem. For both of us, we're in committees that we're exposed to students on a day in, day out basis, and for me it's cases, for Khatib it's genuinely just trying to serve as many people as possible. And throughout seeing these people and their problems, we've learned that there's so much more. There's so much more to do, and there's so much more to keep trying for, as Khatib said, and we want to keep doing that. We want to keep seeing students through every single part of their journey, not just the good times, but the bad ones too, and we want to help them through those too.
Okay, very good. Okay, Ahmed, given that you are running for president, do you mind giving us like a brief explanation about your campaign?
I think our campaign mainly stands for uniting people. This is the first thing that we want to focus on. We see so much division in the university. We see so many people that could have been in many collaborations that are productive and are just not encouraged to be in collaborations, or not have that space in هم بجد ينزلوا and actually collaborate with each other. And that is a problem, I think, not just the union has. I think everything in the university, بجد offices and then organizations منها من بعض. I think this is the summary of our campaign and our uniting people. طبعا we have our three main pillars: dynamic, integrative, and connected. But the theme mainly revolves around that point in احنا بجد we want to actually hear people first. We want to serve people, we want to entertain, and we want to do the best we can as a student union إن هو يكون a platform for where people unite. And this is أصلا لما فكرنا فيها, the foundations, I believe, of the student union was a concept of a group of students أساسا كانوا في الجامعة, and then they had a few goals, they wanted to achieve things, and what led them to achieve these things is that they united. ودي أصلا بالنسبة لي فكرة student union, إن هي أصلا people coming together, a group of students towards achieving many different collaborations or initiatives. Yeah.
طب why did you choose Farida as your vice president?
لا يعني ده كده سؤال حلو قوي. And I knew Farida from when I was a freshman برضو. We didn't know each other قوي الصراحة, يعني we weren't that close, but I knew her as a person يعني, we had a lot of mutual friends. But I really connected معها during يعني cabinet يعني when we were both chairs السنة دي. لا كده يعني there's so many reasons, أنا مش عارف أبدأ منين ولا فين بجد والله يعني.
وإحنا بالنسبة لنا it was a choice اللي هو it was a choice both sides, and هو for me and I saw Khatib, I saw what he does, I saw to what extent he goes to just for students. Well, being that person myself and wanting to always go the extra mile, even if it isn't the most logical thing in the world, I've always found that Khatib has been the safe space for doing that. And no matter how hard me and him have been pushing, whenever I tell him to let's do this for this person, he's like, yalla, no matter how hard it is. And I find that this together made us the perfect pair. So we both sat together one day and we decided, do you wanna run for presidency? Yes. Do you wanna run for presidency? Yes. And here we are.
We complete each other. ده بالنسبة لي our summary of احنا الاثنين. First احنا كنا بجد مقلقين من بعض في الحتة دي, ان انا كنت مثلا I had that aspect, my experiences كانت مثلا in as many different directions, but mainly around the theme of execution operations شوية. Farida has a lot of يعني great initiatives she did in representation with serving and representing the people in her own committee وكده. فكنا مقلقين ان احنا we think differently شوية, بس بجد دي بالنسبة لي was the reason to go forward. أنا اكتشفت إن هو the reason that was making me مثلا مقلق شوية اللي هو are we actually gonna do something great في اليونيون ده، مش عايزين ننزل وخلاص. We want to do actually something that has a great impact في الناس. It turns out that reason was the main reason إن إحنا we need to be with each other. عشان just like أنا بفكر في ناحية she thinks in the opposite direction and together بنيجي وبجد we get something that's totally different and much better from me alone thinking and Farida alone thinking. Well, this is what I think the union needs. It needs that diversity, needs that dynamic. And هو بجد many people with different backgrounds. Well, I think our backgrounds بجد complete each other like a perfect puzzle الصراحة. I hope ده يكون كويس يعني إن شاء الله.
It's all about friendship, but at the end of the day, and understanding that this entire union is built on connection. And if you aren't friends with who you're working with, you'll never truly achieve anything. Because some days you have to, I pull, he pushes. Some days he pushes, I pull. And that's the beauty of elections. And that's the beauty of us and the union that we envision, is that we envision a union, quite frankly, that is just good and kind. And the students that exist within it understand it's a safe space for them to exist regardless. And the student body that they reside in is also a safe space. And that starts from us both. Because we are both of each other's safe spaces, احنا بالنسبة لنا we want to embark on a journey to create even more. That's it.
Very cute. Okay, now more serious talk.
Okay.
It's for Ahmed. This question is for
Okay.
Ahmed. What do you think are the most important issues and challenges that the students in general in the university face today?
The many major problems that we think about as a student union دلوقتي, I think إن هي students don't feel supported, don't feel involved في decisions بتاعت الجامعة. If we're talking about the university as a whole, we can think about the many decisions that the admin takes without مثلا contacting مثلا students. يعني أنا بالنسبة لي مثلا give an example مثلا winter when it was taken away, I don't think that to anyone of the student body was even considered مثلا هو come عايزين we have a decision we want to discuss. Well, this is something I think was Farida's part إن هي بجد she wanted that إن هو يكون موجود و involved with that decision on behalf of the entire student body. Where I think this is the main problem as administration wise and how you plan to deal with them next year. إن we want first to ensure إن إحنا not just the student union, students in general are involved in the decision making. عشان لما قرار بجد بيطلع وبيأثر في الجامعة كلها زي winter زي library 24/7 when it closes زي Grammarly when it's taken, not many people know بجد من administration قد إيه this might impact students قوي. And this is the best thing إن إحنا بجد في الجامعة دي we have that space. Not using it is a great problem that we face دلوقتي. I don't think it was faced أيام زمان قوي, بس دلوقتي بالذات it is a big problem. And the addition برضو يعني كunion as a whole, I think being present with the students إن هو بجد يكون on ground أكتر, ما يكونش مثلا a group of people مثلا a cult شوية كده. I know that is a common misconception ما بين الناس. Union is a cult, union is a group of friends وخلاص. Union is a public, it is a student government, it belongs to everyone, not just us. وفعلا what we need to do إن إحنا بجد ننزل on ground نوري الناس our initiatives, invite people to be part of that change. مش بس إحنا يعني when we think about it مش أنا وفريد اللي إحنا عملنا حاجة, it is us supported by the people. And this is فكرة unity, فكرة إن إحنا we want to do things for the people by the people. I think this is the main problem. Yeah.
Okay. Now a question for Farida.
Yes.
Do you have any plans regarding the new declaration system? Given that students who have 3.8 and 3.9 GPA cannot declare their desired majors?
So in this problem, I like to always address it based on school. So, for example, if we were to go into the business school specifically, we realize that the business school is attempting to already enhance these systems. They're trying to integrate more non-GPA factors into their weighting process, and that actually helps students declare. So, for example, last semester they had a certain system. However, the next semester, which I personally am very excited for, the system is changing to also lessen the weight of the GPA and increase weight for the aptitude test that they give, as well as the interview. This then starts giving all students an opportunity. The thing that I'd like to always share with students is that when the university is starting to shift off of GPA factors, it also starts shifting off of personal skill factors, which means that students are going to start actually pushing themselves more to gain greater skill set. Now, our problem is honestly with SSE. SSE has given a lot of pushback towards changing the fact that CS and CE majors are not able to declare anymore with a 4.02 GPA, which is impossible to reach. However, this year for us, because academics and education is one of our main pillars inside our committee and inside our plan as a whole, for us it's about pushing that this is not tolerable, that students cannot keep going on with a GPA of 4.02 and expecting themselves to excel. And for us, it's integrating, again, non-GPA factors into a major such as SSE, such as the aptitude test, and maybe another skill test specifically designed for SSE majors to be able to do that. And it's all about a conversation. And for us, the reason why these changes haven't been happening in the university is because students have not felt empowered in years to start hunting for them and acting about them. A lot of students are complaining, yes, there's a problem with the GPA, declaration is really tough. Voices aren't reaching anymore. It's always a plaza conversation, as me and Khatib always say. We want to always bring it to be a higher up conversation. And because you've said it in plaza, it's the union's job to say it up there and to take you with them if the situation calls for it, when it calls for it. And for us, that's all we've ever wanted to do. Is we wanted to always also maintain transparency above all in every single step that we take. And this is the most important thing, that the union should update students. It should push for students. And most importantly, and this is something I feel like has been forgotten throughout the years, it should consider students. Listening is something. Considering is something completely different. Because considering is truly valuing their opinion and truly taking them into consideration. So for students who have a 4.02 GPA and can declare, this is a problem that doesn't just affect them. It affects their family and the reason why they entered AUC. For us, it's a huge problem, and it is on our top list of initiatives, because education should be on our top list of initiatives as a union. Because throughout the years, the union has started shifting away from academic settings and started shifting into more of representation and services and events, which is great. But it needs more academics and more academic representation. And this year, I attempt to do this in my committee. However, there are many problems to tackle, and it's something that I'm very proud to say that I want to continue tackling these problems and helping these people, because they are our goal at the end of the day. And this educational system and experience is the goal. Hopefully we can do better in integrating non-GPA factors, to put it short.
Speaking of academics, and regarding regarding the tuition fees increase, what are your long-term solutions?
And this question is, I would like to say, the greatest question I get asked, especially being the chairperson of representation. And I'd honestly say that the long-term solution, to be able to get in front of any setting of an interview and say I have a long-term solution, would be a lie, because every single time that we have the problem of devaluation, the settings and the circumstances are very different, and the economical state of the country is very different. However, it's always brought back to the union of how can we deal with it, how can we handle it as a union, and it's a very simple answer of we unite. What does that mean? It might be a very simple response to the question, but we've reached the point where when the union, for example, is sitting in front of administration and we are arguing about the devaluation crisis, we don't have the same power as we did back then, because people aren't complaining as they used to. They aren't pushing with us as they used to. They aren't standing up for themselves as they used to. And me and Khatib's entire concept is that the day that the union decides to go to administration saying we will not handle the devaluation anymore, we need to trust the student body and the student union both need to trust each other to a point that we will stand together against it. Not just say, oh, we're bothered. No. It's not a state of botherment anymore. It's a state of we will not handle any more than this. And this is our point. And we want to strengthen the hold the student body has over administration, which is by leveraging them on administration and saying that these numbers do not stop. By signing petitions, by showing them the numbers that we have in front of admin, it does push leverage. That's why back then they used to solve these problems, because they had leverage of number. And for us, it's about involvement. Making sure that the student body is involved with admin, involved with what they're saying and how they say it and when they need to mobilize. In order first to handle these situations in the student body and to strengthen them as they used to, and to strengthen the union with the student body as it used to, is our first step. The second step is, of course, a more strategic step, which is basically, for us, we realize that enrollment has declined. People are not entering university anymore. There's a lot of data to collect. And for us, we value, Khatib and I especially, a data-driven union, where whenever we're coming to confront the valuation crisis, we're coming with data from schools, from students inside the university, with numbers that we are able to collect, alhamdulillah, through all of our platforms. And starting with a data-driven approach does not give administration enough space to argue anymore, because we are actively proving to them enrollment is declining, facilities are declining. A fact that I'd love to share with the student body is that the number one reason why people enter this university is facilities. The number two is the co-curricular experience. Lately, the university has been diminishing from facilities and also limiting co-curricular experiences. For the enrollment rate will decline no matter what happens. Thus, we have this leverage, we have this power. But it's all about using it adequately and using it while the student body is involved, which is our goal next year for the student body, through uniting voices and through involving voices, which is our main thing.
So why do you think people are not complaining anymore?
Honestly, and I think it's a cycle. I think people aren't complaining anymore because they think the union doesn't listen, because the union has been trying, honestly, to make an impact to listen. However, it's hard to try to listen when you've never considered before or done it well. And I think coming from a representation background, and Khatib coming from a services background, where you are truly intersecting with the people at the greatest stage possible, is involving and understanding the importance of listening and importance of valuing. For me, for example, if a student were to walk up to me and tell me, Farida, I don't like X, Y, and Z, my job is not just to say, oh yes, tamam, I understand. My job and Khatib's job is to always, always, always say, okay, tell me more about this problem, let's see what we can do, and then you contact the rest of the union or the affiliated committee to try to handle it, or the other parties involved. This hasn't happened in years. It's a phone call lately, it's a phone call or a comment, and with no response or whatever. This year in our SU representation, we've tried changing that. Thankfully, we've had one of our highest response rates on all SU posts, and people are speaking more. And this year, I can see it. When I was a member, when I was a GM, it was also decreasing. Students weren't getting as much involvement. As a GM, I tried to push, I tried to answer every single possible comment. As a chair, alhamdulillah, we have a committee that is carrying itself, answering and responding to students, and students are talking more. It's just that, show them you care because you do care, and show them that they are the priority, and they will act. And our job for the upcoming union is to do that, to show them that we care and that they are our priority. Every post, every comment, every concern, every phone call is our Khatib's, me and Khatib's priority. And we are ready to take it one more step further throughout our next experience, hopefully.
طيب, speaking of supporting, what are your plans to support Palestinian students?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. I hold this question a very dear place in my heart, because for me, the reason why I personally wanted to enter elections was due to the protests of Palestine, when I saw the student body leading themselves and the union just supporting it. But for me, the Palestinian cause is my favorite. For us as a union, and what me and Khatib intend to do is, we don't intend on taking it alone. For us, it's Al-Quds Club. The Al-Quds Club is a beautiful club led by Yahya Hamouda, who we appreciate as a leadership figure in more ways than one. And for us, it's supporting him and what the Palestinian students want, and it's being led by them. For us, of course, if I'll tell you about the union initiatives, it's more so that we want to integrate the SU scholarship and add one more branch for a student coming from a place of Arab conflict. For that, for us, is one thing we want to establish. Furthermore, we want to erect a statue in gardens to be able to just have symbolism, metaphor for all the lives that have been lost, in honor for them. Also, to remember that in a point of unity, we shook the country. When the student body unites for a cause that is humanitarian, we were able to do something. And it's always a reminder for that these lives will never be lost, and this change will never be forgotten. The student body was able to find itself on multiple news outlets because they united. And the union and the student body and every single person who believed in this cause was able to cause change. And for us, this statue is one of the most important things we hope to see. Especially Khatib is the one who...
يعني هقول برضه حاجة that's coming from a person بجد that was around that field برضه في التلفزيون body. There's lots of people that came up to us وبجد that told us بجد خطيب فريدة, that moment of that protest, that moment بجد revived something in us that wasn't there موجودة قبل كده. ان احنا بجد ننزل ونتكلم. احنا بجد سمعنا السنة اللي فاتت مثلا I think there was like tuition problems وكده. لا السنة دي بالذات every year there was problems. The union didn't usually react to us well. They didn't actually listen to us. They went, even if they were listening to us, ما كانوش بجد on ground بجد showing that they are listening to us. أما that moment it showed us a lot. ومش بس كده, you're not trying to take it مننا. You're giving the people who suffer from the cause itself the freedom ان هم يطلعوا يتكلموا. This is something Yahya, I think حتى I talked to him a few weeks ago بجد. This is something that when I asked him بجد what was your most surprising thing when you entered university, عشان he was coming from an abroad country يعني, and he came and بجد قال أول ما جيت مصر بجد I was shocked by how much freedom we have in this university. and أنا بجد I went into the market, I asked ممكن اهاتف, ممكن اي ميجافون, ممكن بجد اللي هو you can here you go, اللي هو ايه ده, انا افتكرت كان في حد هيجي ويقاوح معايا, او اللي هو someone's gonna talk me out of it. What are you doing? This is not appropriate to the country. ايه اللي انت بتعمله ده? This is not civilized. لا, هو if you have something to say you can have the space to say it. The union is there to give you resources to say it. ودي اصلا the best part about representation in my يعني point of view من بره about looking into Farida's committee. This is the best part. She's offering resources for people to use for their cause, and we support them. This is the best.
Well, it's being led by them, and there is nothing wrong with saying that we are a union that believes that the student body should lead while we give them the resources to make it possible. And in certain situations like that, it's why me and Khatib connected so well, is in the midst of this protest, when all the union did was we had some safety procedures. We gave them a couple of megaphones. We ensured that there were flags. We ensured that they were safe, which is of my utmost priority throughout everything. Khatib was there to hand out water, and although some might say that this is a very small exchange, it isn't. It's the concept and the principle of that while the student body is doing something and empowering themselves, we are there to hand them water bottle, to support them, and to do more than just that, to just keep pushing with them and to help them push for themselves. And this is our vision of the union.
Okay. A very change of subject. Are you in any way involved in camp?
Nope. Well, this is something I've never been part of يعني. Although كده there are many arguments for and against, but this is something that we believe as Khatib and Farida, this is something we want to keep. اللي هي يعني we've been always been non-affiliated. يعني we believe this is good leadership in ours, and this is what we made us, and this is what we plan to keep the union is, and how purely for the students and just being there for the students, not being affiliated with any concept of governance. Yeah.
Okay, how are you going to communicate with camps to have better experience with the student government?
You know, at the end of the day, people who lead camps or in camps, they're students just like us. And for us, it's a matter of sitting down, having a transparent conversation with each other, and stating everyone's objectives, visions, and goals. For us, a lot of people choose to be affiliated. That's their decision, and we respect that entirely. Thus, it is also our job to sit down with them and to communicate as much as possible, saying that, oh, Khatib and I believe A, B, C, D, and this is how we want to communicate. Because at the end of the day, we all have one goal, and that's the student body. And as long as that side is clear to us, the conversation will flow very naturally and very easily. And that's our goal.
I think in here, at the end of the day, we're all students. We're just trying to create good change. I don't think any camp affiliation or أي حاجة that is going to be the reason for that change to happen. يعني مش دي اللي هتوقفنا بجد as students إن نحقق our goals. يعني if it is, this is something purely بجد إن هتكون very embarrassing for us as students as a whole إن إحنا something like that بتوقفنا إن إحنا بجد نعمل حاجة. I think لو في حاجة that's actually good to be done, no matter who يعني بجد from any person, no matter their diversity, no matter their affiliation, no matter their stance politically, unpolitically, there's good is always going to be the thing to go for. Creating that change is always the best thing to do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you Ahmed and Farida so much for joining us today, and good luck with your elections.
Thank you. It was an honor to have us here. We're very excited.
And we're very excited to see how the votes will turn out in the end.
أهم حاجة إن everyone just votes. It's your right as a student, regardless of who you vote for, to always vote and to always make sure your voices are considered and valued.
It's a student right. I think many people usually forget that and how it's just voting مش فارقة. I'm not in the student union. I'm not going to be affected. But بجد voting affects everyone, and it is your right. You have that right in the university. You can choose how you want your next year to be. You choose your own style of leadership. You choose the people that you want to بجد lead that union and to lead بجد the organization that affects everyone في الجامعة دي, not just students, بجد everyone, I believe. I think voting in concept is a very important thing people should do بجد. بس.
Thank you again
Thank
so
you.
much. And now we end our conversation with Ahmed and Farida, and we would like to remind the students that the elections will be held on Wednesday, April 24. This was Farida Yassin from AUCTV. Thank you for watching.